So today's supposed to get up into the 60s, so I guess we're back out of the winter conditions. We had that brief cold snap. We got the snow on the ground. You can probably see the snow on the ground here. It's thawing quickly. And the rest of the week we're supposed to be in the 60s for the highs, and I think the lowest it gets is 39 degrees in the next 10 days. So I hope spring's kind of making its way here. It would be nice. Today was the first day, leap forward on the clocks. This is Sunday, at the time of this recording. So I lost an hour's sleep. That was strange. I set my clock at 2 o'clock to see what the temperature is in the house. If it's too cold in the house, then I'll go ahead and put some more wood in the fire at 2 o'clock. Well, I wear earplugs at night. Sometimes I don't hear the 2 o'clock alarm. I always hear the 5 o'clock alarm, but sometimes I'll miss the 2 o'clock. And Carolyn will nudge me. Well, this morning I didn't hear it. She said, hey, the alarm's going off. So I get up and I look at the clock and it says 3:05 or something. So it's already went off once, you know. I'm thinking I'd overslept by an hour, and so did Carolyn. So I didn't realize until this morning when I got up that I'd lost that hour's sleep. That's one of the disadvantages, I guess, of living off. You just doesn't keep track of that stuff. It's just, where's my hour? I find it interesting. It's one thing I think the entire country probably could agree on is let's get rid of this stupid clock jumping back and forth. Missouri's tried to pass a law, I guess, that they were going to get rid of it. But every year, some congressmen will propose legislation and no one agrees on it. I don't understand why they want to torture us with this stupid 1 hour thing. Well, the argument is kids would have to stay at the bus stop in the dark, so we can't do that. So I guess that's why we all have to lose an hour's sleep once a year. And it's apparently pretty bad for people, this loss of hours. It's pretty unhealthy is my understanding. So I'm going to start the generator, let it warm up. I don't know if it needs it, but we'll do it anyways. I've gotten a generator down where I'm only running 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening. It's starting to warm up now. The temperatures are warming up. Daylight's getting longer, so I don't have to run it as much. So we're already seeing a significant improvement in reducing the amount of gas we're using. What I'm doing now is I'm going to fill the tank, the IBC tank. I do that every other day, well, through the winter. During the summer, I'm going to try to do it again like I did last year, once a day. I told you a while back that I'm going to use the water tank as an air conditioner. And I explained how I was going to do that. The ventilation that I use to heat the box here, right now there's a fan blowing hot air from inside the house out to this box here. That's where the tank sits. So I'm going to reverse that this coming year, this summer. So the cool air from the tank will go into the house. Well, the well water comes out 50, 60 degrees, somewhere in between there. So that cool well water temperature from inside the tank will go into the house. But no matter what I say, somebody's got a better idea. I don't get it. The fan that I'm going to use is a little 6-inch fan. It probably uses a quarter of an amp of electricity. It's not going to use anything. And so I thought of a pretty ingenious idea how to keep the house somewhat cool in the summertime without having to run an air conditioner. And it's like, I mean, it's just no matter what you say, somebody's got to criticize it. Why don't you just run a fan in the window? Well, we could do that. That's what we did last summer. I was just trying to improve our situation. I don't understand. So just, get a box fan. Well, first of all, that's going to take a lot more electricity than this little fan I'm going to use. Those box fans are actually a pretty significant energy hog. Not as much as an air conditioner, but they'll definitely take more than this little bitty fan I'm using. This will probably be the last time I have to put the hose in the tank. Hopefully it won't freeze again and I can just leave it out. I need to buy another hose. These are getting pretty decrepit. As you know, the winter already broke one of these, so it looks like they kind of came back to life. They're a little bit more flexible. They cracked over the winter, so I just had to get rid of it. So I gotta get another hose because I don't have enough hose. And Carolyn wants to get another IBC tank put down by the garden. So all I got to do is fill the IBC tank, and she can come down and use as much water as she wants And then when I'm ready to fill the tank, all I got to do is just put water back into the tank. It'd be a lot easier. That way neither one of us is being inconvenienced. She's so worried that she's going to inconvenience me by asking for water. Well, last year I just filled up buckets of water, put it down by the garden, and she could use it. Well, this year she wants to have, I guess, more water. So we're going to try to find another IBC tank, and I'll just leave it down there filled up. She can use it whatever she wants. I said a while back, I liked my system. I like the hose. And I guess some people, I don't know, maybe people are just seeing it the way they would do it, but they always got to comment, you know, why don't you do it this way? Why don't you do it that way? Why? I'm quite happy with what I got. It's cheap. I don't have to do a lot of work. Don't have to spend a lot of money. Yesterday, I didn't understand it. So yesterday's video, the one that, of course, it was 2 or 3 days ago for you, but the video I posted yesterday, as of the recording of this video, I showed you how to reduce cost running by taking my food outside in the wintertime and letting the cold temperature freeze it, and then I can put it in the freezer, because there's not enough sunlight in the wintertime to run the freezer to get all that meat to freeze. You know, when we go grocery shopping, we buy all that meat, it's all thawed out, and so it takes a good couple days for the refrigerator to freeze all that. So I explained how to do it for free. Take it outside. Or in the summertime, we still use the freezer. There's enough sunlight in the summertime, I'll just put it in the freezer. Freezer takes care of it just fine. Well, somebody said, well, Rob, why don't you get a propane refrigerator off an old RV? You probably find one free. He said it didn't use much propane. That way you don't have to, I guess, take my food outside or whatever. But he specifically talked about the cost of propane. Well, okay, it may not cost a lot. I don't know what you're considering a lot. But when you already have free, any cost is a lot. So putting it outside or running it with solar panels, it's free. So yeah, propane costs a fortune. I don't understand the thinking. Give up free so you can pay. I know a lot of people argue with me, but my dad, who I trust just fine. I mean, I have no lack of trust with my father. He traveled the country, he lived in an RV park. He was an RV park manager for years and years, like, I don't know, 15 years. He's had a couple different RVs, travel trailers, and he always takes out the propane tank because he says it doesn't get cold enough. He says the propane tank in his only cool down so many degrees beyond ambient temperature. So he would have to run the air conditioner, basically, to get the refrigerator to cool down enough to work. Well, we don't have an air conditioner, so if it's 90 degrees in the house, we wouldn't have cold food, according to him. So I trust him, so I'm not going to get a propane refrigerator. And I know people always will say, every time I talk about this, they'll say, oh no, they work just fine. I don't know what your dad's talking about. I have one for years, it works fine. And the question is, are you using it with an air conditioner? According to him, you don't run with air conditioner, they don't work. The difference between living this lifestyle and being on vacation is huge. If you're out vacationing for a couple weeks, throw a package of hot dogs in the refrigerator. It's a big difference than putting 30 or 40 days worth of food in the freezer like we're doing. You know, sometimes you got to watch these comments because they can't explain why their freezer works better than my father's. So then another comment was, you need to watch, and I know somebody's going to say, oh no, she's right. But this woman commented yesterday, she said, you got to watch hamburger at the store. They mix old hamburger in with the new hamburger. It'll make you sick. So I replied back, yeah, there are hundreds of lawsuits every day being filed against grocery stores because people are dying from food poisoning. I hear about it all the time. You're absolutely right. I don't know if people really think about what they're saying. So I'm going to try it, start it, see what happens. It worked. So I don't know if people really think about what they're saying or if they just hear something online and they just believe it. But when you think for a half a second, with today's safety standards and government regulations, I mean, we're completely over-regulated in this country, I think. So with all the government regulations we have, they're not going to let people get sick at the grocery store from eating rotten hamburger they mix in with new hamburger. So what I'm doing now, since we've had so much rain and snow, I'm checking the water to make sure that it's still clean. I've told you in the past that we had a huge rain for about 12 hours just a couple weeks ago, maybe a week ago. And the ground was so saturated that the well soaked up some of that dirty water. So I'm trying to, I think it's already clean, I can already see it. But what I do is I take a white bucket and I fill it all the way up. And you can see pretty quickly if it's dirty or not. It'll be a tan, greenish color, like there's maybe copper in the water or something. And then if it is, I just flush it out 3 times. You know, I just turn the well pump, I open this all the way up, well pump flushes the water out of it, and it's clean again. But yeah, it's definitely clean. It's never easy to tell. It always looks clean in the camera, but it's clean. So I'm going to shift it over to the but if the water is dirty, the filters I have on the hose, they clog up almost instantly, just within a couple fillings. And you'll see the water slow down quite a bit. The well pump doesn't have a lot of pressure, from what I can tell. So it doesn't want to overcome the dirty filters. Whereas in your house, you could probably get away with it a little bit if you use filters. So if you'll click onto this next box right here to take you over to the other channel, I'd really appreciate you check out that video. So I hope I can inspire you to make your life easy when you're living your dream. Thanks for watching.